Sex with my boyfriend is so bad. The author of the post is listed in the description. I've been with my boyfriend for about 1.5 years. The relationship is great, but the sex is bad. We're both 22 and very healthy. Lately, past several months, he can't even finish during sex. We'll have sex and he'll go soft and then we'll have to try again. And it repeats. This'll sometimes go on for over an hour, and then it occasionally ends with me crying and him being mad and frustrated. Occasionally he'll end up finishing. It's so annoying and I hate it, but I don't know what more I can do. And he always makes me finish first, whether or not we have sex. I've tried everything. I give him head. I do positions I don't feel comfortable with to try to make him happy. I bought lingerie for him. I'm so embarrassed and none of it works. He always has a different excuse for why the sex doesn't work. Sometimes it's I'm stressed, or I'm tired, or I just don't know, or it's because of the condom. Yesterday it was, I just wasn't turned on. He always complains about it. He doesn't count it as sex unless he finishes, so we could have sex one day and it'll be bad and take hours, and the next day he'll be complaining, saying it's been weeks since we've had sex, and he feels so frustrated and pent up. He always gets mad when he doesn't finish too, and it's overall just very upsetting for both of us. I don't think I can take it anymore, but I don't know what to do. I can't just keep spending hours of my life crying and being stressed when I just want to have sex. It's not fair. Aita for being this upset and considering ending an otherwise great relationship over bad sex. Commentator has advised OOP not to pressure her boyfriend any further if he wanted to stop, and asked if he possibly has some concerns. OOP, I have told him it's fine. I'm usually the one who wants to stop when he doesn't finish, and that's where the problem comes in. He takes about 10 minutes just to get hard, so imagine me giving him head for 10 minutes. Then us having sex for about 1. 2, then he stops being hard. Then I have to wait another 10 minutes while he jerks himself off so we can go another one. 2 minutes and continuing like that. So we've talked about it, and I said we shouldn't keep going after he stops. He has ignored that and kept going because it always ends so quickly, and he cares about finishing and gets upset about not finishing. So I have to lay there naked thinking about how my boyfriend can't get hard, values an orgasm more than the boundary we've set, and worrying about if we'll ever have good sex, and it sometimes leads to me crying. Commenter, forcing you to have sex for hours so he can get off sounds to me like manipulation and sexual abuse. I understand that maybe you are a willing participant to an extent, but I'd be fucking traumatized to have sex for hours with a limp dick. I would tell him to address it with his doctor and possibly refrain from porn. I don't think there's anything you're doing wrong and you shouldn't be getting upset about it. If he doesn't want to fix things medically, then I would dump him. Oop, okay, thank you. It's really hard to explain to someone who hasn't been in that situation, but just like he physically can't get hard, I physically can't stop myself from getting emotional when it happens. I'll be sitting there with my legs spread apart or something and just waiting for minutes while he tries to get hard again, and at some point I just feel embarrassed. It's really stressful, and saying just don't get upset when it happens isn't as easy as it sounds. Update. I really appreciate everyone's advice and suggestions on my previous post. I wanted to address some of the comments that I received. It's currently winter break, so we are spending a few days apart from each other, so I'm taking this time to focus on myself, reflect, and thinking about what I want to do and say when I see him again. 1. Porn. I've talked about this with him. He says he doesn't watch it anymore. He could be lying. There was one point about 3 months into our relationship where he told me he was done watching porn, and I saw a new note on his phone with a list of porn stars' names. But I haven't seen anything like that since. I do understand it's the most likely cause, but if he won't admit it, there's not much I can do. 2. Gay. IDK. All I can say is I hope not. If he's gay, he's good at faking his attraction to me. 3. Stressed. I saw a lot of people mention anxiety, and he does not have anxiety. I do. But I can see stress being a possible cause. Specifically, he mentions being stressed about work and finances a lot. He also doesn't get a ton of sleep. 4. Drugs. He doesn't do drugs. He drinks occasionally. 5. Health issues. I have asked him to see a doctor. He hasn't yet. I guess I'll ask him again. I also only saw it mentioned once in the comments, but I want kids in the future. And it would be completely devastating to not be able to because of something related to this. My plan is to talk to him and ask him to see a doctor, and hopefully he can get the problem fixed. I love him, but I feel like sex shouldn't be this stressful, and I don't know how much more I can do it. If anyone has other advice for how I can talk to him about it, I'd like to hear it. Update 2. We talked about it again, and it turns out that he's not happy with our sex life either. His opinion was that we don't have sex as often as we used to, and I don't give him enough head. We spent way too much time talking about it, and when I brought up seeing a doctor, he told me he already did. He told me he had an online appointment where they told him he had low testosterone and that he needed to change his diet. I pretty much reached a breaking point after we had sex one day. He couldn't finish and was talking to me about what I need to do to make it better, and I just told him that I couldn't handle all of the talking about sex. That clearly our sex life sucks, and constantly talking about how bad it is isn't helping. I was close to just breaking up with him in the moment at that point because I was so stressed. He said we don't have to talk about it anymore. Our sex has improved a tiny bit. I noticed he started taking blue chews without telling me. I wish he didn't have to. Sometimes he's still soft while I'm giving him head or can't finish when we have sex. I might never know what it's like to have a boyfriend who gets hard just from looking at me, but maybe I've reached the point of acceptance. Relevant comments. Commenter. How are you supposed to resolve the issue if you don't want to talk about it? It seems like you are both acknowledged there's a problem, but what's next? Stopping communication about it and exclaiming that your sex life sucks isn't exactly going to help anything? Why? You said you didn't want to talk about it. Looks like he's trying to find a solution, but even then, it's only temporary. Oop. Our conversations about it just aren't productive. He asks for more sex, but can't perform. I ask for him to just be able to stay hard and finish for one round. And he says our sex is boring and we need to change it up. It's like nothing is ever good enough, and instead of working towards a resolution, there's just always another complaint, and it's the same things over and over again in circles. Update 3. My now ex-boyfriend, 23 AM of 2 years, abruptly texted me, 23F, a couple of weeks ago saying he wasn't happy anymore. I tried to call him and he said he'd call me back later. I called again later and he ignored it again and just texted, "I'm done." For a couple days, I still wasn't really sure if he wanted to talk about things and kept trying to call or text him, but I was ignored. He told me that text saying he wasn't happy was him breaking up with me and he thought it was obvious. I saw him in person yesterday since we wanted to try being friends. I started talking about all of my plans for the future, which included moving states and traveling. He got upset and started crying, asking if I'd really just leave him like that. And I was like thinking, you left me. Why are you mad I'm moving on? But then he started saying he was still in love with me and still wanted to be with me. And when he sent that text, I wasn't supposed to just accept it. I should have driven over to his place and begged for him back and done everything that he texted saying he wasn't happy about. I didn't know that because, like I said, he wouldn't even answer my calls or texts. But I guess that was part of the whole game. Aita for not begging my boyfriend to still date me when he broke up with me. Relevant comments. Commenter. I guess things with the other girl didn't work out. Oop. When he first broke up with me, that was definitely my first assumption. I have no way of knowing for sure. He vehemently denies it, but the last time he ghosted me, because this was in fact the second time, it was because he was giving his attention to another girl, not cheating though. So fool me once and all that, we're definitely over. Commenter. After looking through your post history, I really hope your next post is, "My new partner and I have earth-shatteringly fantastic sex all the time." There are partners out there who will want you to orgasm even if they don't, who can get soft and just move on to giving you oral or something without ever making you feel like it's your fault. I hope you find a person like that now that you're free of this asshole. Oop. I'm hoping for the same. Trust me. Okay, next story. Caught my wife sending pics to BIL. Is our marriage salvageable at this point? My wife Jessica, 34, and I, 35M, have been married for 3 years, and we dated for 2 years before that, and we have 2-year-old daughter. Jessica has 2 sisters. The eldest one, 38F, is married to Jake, 40EM. A week ago, I came home from work early and wanted to scare Jessica. I tried to be sneaky, but somehow I slipped and accidentally hurt my back. Jessica came to my rescue. I went to the bedroom and she went to the kitchen to get an ice pack. Her phone was by the bed and a WhatsApp notification came from Jake saying, "You've got the best pair I've ever seen." I immediately knew what was happening. I unlocked the phone and saw that she had just sent some pics and video of her tits to Jake, and there were no previous chats before that. When Jessica came back to the room, I showed her the chat and asked, "How long?" I've known this woman for 10 years, and I have never seen her so mortified. Her eyes got teary, and she said, "Babe, I am sorry, but I can explain." So I said, "Go on." According to her, at the end of 2019, she was struggling with money, and Jake suggested he would help her out. He hinted that he would like to see her pics. So she did send him pics, and it continued over the years. She swears there was nothing emotional or physical involved. It was purely transactional. I didn't believe any of it. But she showed me on Venmo that MF paid her $300 yesterday. I then told her, "It's been 5 years. Try to remember if anything physical happened." For me, if even half of what she is saying is true, how could something like that not become physical? She started crying and told me she could prove it tomorrow because Jake would get suspicious if she tried to talk to him now. I took her phone, went to a bar, got wasted for the night, and when I came back, she was still there crying. I just slept on the couch. Next day morning, I gave her the phone. She called Jake. Conversation goes something like this. "Jessica, hey, I was wondering if you want some more pics." Jake, "I'm short on money. Yesterday, I spent all of it." Jessica, "We can do something more this time and meet in person. I've changed my mind on that." Jake, "No way. How much are we talking about?" I felt like I was going to puke. I told her that we are done and left for office. I am not a very wealthy dude, but I would consider myself a stable guy who could take care of his family. Now I just feel like I have failed as a man whose wife had to sell her body to meet her expected lifestyle. When I got home that night, she looked like shit. I asked Jessica why she kept taking money from him after we got married, and why she didn't ask me while we were dating. She said she didn't know how to stop and that it was easy money. I left my home that night and told her she can keep the home and the car, but I want 50-50 custody of my child. So here I am now. Haven't told anyone about this. It's been a week since. Staying in a hotel. I go home in the evening to play with my daughter. I'm speaking with divorce lawyers, and Jessica is constantly talking about marriage counseling. Comments. Commenter. Her sister deserves to know. Commenter. Gather the evidence. Contact an attorney. Follow the attorney's advice and tell your SIL and all of the family, not the kids. Your marriage is over. Update. 2 days later. Before getting to the update, some people were asking me to get a paternity test. I don't need one. I know she is my daughter because I am Indian and Jessica, my wife, is white, and my daughter looks like me. Now for the update. After I made that post, I shared my situation with my cousin's sister, 30F. She is the only family member I have living in the States. I visited her place the next day, and she knocked some sense into me. I realized part of me still didn't want a divorce because I basically married Jessica against my parents' will. They wanted me to have an arranged marriage. So, my failed marriage would hurt my ego. She also arranged a meeting with a divorce lawyer, and no, I am not giving up my house. I was just emotional at that time. From what I understand, in our state, adultery has pretty much zero impact on the assets, so it will likely be a 50-50 split. However, there is a high chance I can get better custody of my daughter because I have a job, and Jessica doesn't. She is also involved in sex work at this point, which could work in my favor. My father-in-law called me last evening, and he was crying. He told me he didn't know what to say to me and that if he were in my place, he would have left her. Apparently, Jessica got scared and told her family everything after I didn't visit home for 2 days and had blocked her everywhere. I guess I should have done that a little while ago, and Jake is out of his house also. So I think I will go for a divorce because there is no point of reconciliation at this point when the whole relationship seems fake to me. Comments? Commenter. I'm really sorry you're going through this. Sounds like you have a good path forward, and I wish you the best with custody and all that. Can I ask what happened with Jake and his wife? Sounds like she kicked him out? Oop. Yeah, she kicked him out yesterday. I didn't ask about them that much, but it sounds like my SIL is sure she is getting divorced. Commenter. Any update on your SIL's relationship with Jessica? Oop. It sounds like everyone is trying to cut off contact with both Jessica and Jake, but I think only my MIL is talking to Jessica. She was at my house last night. Commenter. What happened with the sister's marriage? Oop. I think my SEIL is fixated on divorce at this moment. Commenter. What was the excuse BIL gave? The fact he took money from their home and gave it to your ex is crazy. I hope she can heal from that and does divorce him. Oop, I didn't really ask. I was too overwhelmed by my father-in-law's response. He was crying nonstop. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.